Hi, I'm Holiday, and this is Whoa, that is not what it is. That's how you can tell I'm tired. It's 4:40 in the morning, and I have decided to get on this camera and yap to you guys about true crime. So here we go. Hi, I'm Holiday, and this is Chloroform and Chillz, and I'm here to yap to you about a documentary that I saw a week ago, and it's just resting on my brain so much that I need to get it out and tell somebody. I feel like the people that I have been telling, they're just like, all right, we're done hearing about it, but it's just still on my mind, and I felt like I should share it. And it's a documentary on HBO that came out in 2011. It's called Something's Wrong with Aunt Diane. This isn't sponsored, by the way, by HBO. I love it if they did one day. But this documentary goes into great detail about a tragedy that happened on the Taconic Parkway in New York City. Well, not New York, New York State, upstate New York, and what an investigation that went ensued found out about why that tragedy happened. So let's start from the beginning. Let's start at who is Diane. Diane is a woman who is married to a man named Daniel Schuler, and they have two children. And this one weekend, they decide, let's go camping. Let's go camping. Let's have a good time. It's a great, summer day. Let's go do it. So they take up a minivan with their two children, and Diane decides to bring her three nieces. Daniel decides to take his truck with the camper on it. They get to the I can't even talk. They get to the camp. Oh, I still can't talk. They get to the campground and they have a good time. They do all that camping stuff. Canoeing, hiking, maybe a campfire, s'mores, tell little ghost stories. And then, they go to sleep, and tomorrow they are on their way home. And that's kind of where oh, sorry, Theo's here with me. That's kind of when things get a little, no, that's not when things get a little, that's when the beginning of the end starts to happen for Diane and her children and her three nieces. Diane that morning is suffering from a toothache that she has been suffering from for a while now, and she's trying to do pain management and it's just not working out. Diane makes a stop at a gas station for painkillers, and this is only through, well, further on when we talk about it, this is only through an investigation. They believe that she asked the teller at the gas station if they had any Tylenol or anything, and they believe after she leaves the gas station, the teller, during the time she's in the gas station, the teller says they don't have any painkillers. They believe this is when Diane decided to self-medicate, and she smokes marijuana, weed. This 2011, that's what they say. She decides to smoke weed, and she has a bottle of vodka. Oof. So after this, there are many eyewitnesses accounts that see that Diane after this is driving erratically, but not like swerving. She's more like breaking the speed limit and driving straight and looking straight. Like she's not looking to her left or her right. She's just focused on the road. And she cuts off a couple, and she cuts them off to get into a rest area. She gets into the rest area. The couple follows her into the rest area because they realize that she has children in the car, and they wanted to speak to her to see if everything was okay. They go into the rest area. By the time they're pulling in after her, she's out the car, doubled over, and they believe in pain or something's going on. And I feel like that's the beginning of where you can see that she's having a medical emergency, but nobody knows. So by the time they park their car and get out to talk to her, she's back in her car driving at erratic speeds out of the rest area. After the rest area, she then stops at an easy pass place and gets out. I guess again be doubled over in pain, and she puts her phone on the rail gates. During this time, they were able to find out, investigators were able to find out that Diane's cell phone made 3 calls to family members. And the 3 calls they believe were from, well, one of them they believe were from the children, saying that something is wrong with Aunt Diane. And then the 2 other calls they believe are from Diane herself, saying that she needs help. What happens is that in this moment they believe that Diane is intoxicated from self-medicating due to a toothache. Happens after this is that Diane takes a wrong turn onto the highway and is going 70 miles an hour, and witnesses are saying they see her and she's just driving straight. Again, she's not driving like drunk or intoxicated. She's just driving straight at 70 miles an hour. And what happens is Diane ends up slamming into a trailblazer at 70 miles an hour. She was able to get 1.7 miles up the highway on the opposite direction into oncoming traffic. And she kills 3 people on the trailblazer immediately. And then the minivan spins out. It gets onto the grass. Her son is ejected from the car. His name is Brian. Diane's daughter, Erin, is still trapped inside, and her 3 nieces are also inside. And the car just engulfs in flames. And bystanders get out of, they park their cars, they get out, and they rush to the minivan because they saw there were children inside. And they are breaking the doors on this minivan to try to get the children out. And they were able to break out Diane's door. She rolls out. She is deceased, deceased. One niece they were able to get out. Her name is Katie. She ends up later dying at the hospital. And the 2 other remaining girls inside the car, no, three girls inside the car end up passing away from the injuries of the car accident, but they don't get them out. They end up burning to death, I guess you can say, because it was so hard to get them out. They just couldn't get them out because everything was on fire. And also from Diane hitting the trailblazer and killing those 3 guys, and they end up hitting another car, her injuring 2 other individuals. In total that day, Diane ended up killing 8 individuals, including herself. Yes. And it later comes out after they do an investigation that Diane was drunk and that she was high. And they believe that before the crash happened, she smoked 15 minutes or an hour before, and they believe that she had about 10 drinks. After searching the car after it was burnt up, they did find a vodka bottle inside of the minivan. After they find all this evidence that this is a tragic drunk driving crash, they release it to the, to the media, not the media. I don't want to say the media. I want to say they released it to the people of New York. Immediately, Daniel, her husband, is outraged because he said, "My wife didn't drink obsessively. She knows not to drink with the children in the car. She knows she doesn't drink at all." And from that toxicology report that they also released at the press conference after this crash, after her autopsy, they also say that, she was high. And he also says that, like, yeah, she smoked pot, but not anything obsessively. And Daniel's sister stand by him and says, like, yeah, she used to only smoke pot after all the kids were like asleep and everything. She wouldn't have done it with the children in the car. And when you watch the documentary, you can tell that they are very in denial about what has transpired. They cannot believe at all that Diane would put the lives of children, of her own children and her nieces, at stake. What do we really know that happened that day? I believe that she was definitely self-medicating due to toothache, but I also think at the same time she was having a medical emergency because they say, like, witnesses say that, like, when she was driving, she just was looking straight, and it looked like she didn't break eye contact. She didn't look for her left or right. She didn't look at her mirror. She was not swerving. She was driving 100, like, not 100, 70 miles an hour straight. She was cutting people off. Like, she wasn't driving erratically where it was just where you could tell if she was intoxicated or not. She was just driving at high speeds. That was it. That was it. No swerving, no nothing. Because I've seen, like, again, I'm a truck driver. I've seen drunk drivers. I've seen people fall asleep at the wheel, and you can tell when people are either sleeping or drunk. And these witnesses were saying, like, nah, that's not what happened. Well, that's not what happened. That's not what we saw. We didn't see drunk driving actions done by Diane. From watching this documentary, you can definitely tell that it's from 2011 or so, because they said that weed was a hallucinogenic drug, and that made me actually have to look it up, because I swore weed wasn't a hallucinogenic drug, and it's not. It's not. So what I was like, huh. I was like, okay, so that information is wrong. They tried to make it seem as not tried, they tried to explain it as if she was probably hallucinating, and she thought that she went the right way on the highway, but she really didn't. And I was like, I think more was happening there than just drunk driving. I think she was having a medical emergency. And I think it's very crazy or just wild works that she stopped not once but twice but three times and didn't think to seek help from the people at the rest area, the people at the Easy Pass, or try to get one of her kids to call 911. When the kids tried to attempt to call for help while she was driving and being fixated on the road at 70 miles an hour, they just kept saying something's wrong with Aunt Diane. And they, like, the parents of the children, and the parents, the uncles, even the husband, they were trying to get the police at, like, police, the state troopers of New York, to try to track the phone, track her whereabouts, but they just couldn't do it in time. And what happened is that Diane ended up going on the highway the wrong way and killing 8 people that day. She killed 81-year-old Michael Basteri, 49-year-old Guy Basteri, and their friend 74-year-old Dan Longo. And then she ended up killing her 3 nieces and her daughter, Erin, Katie, and Allison, and Emma. Brian, again, I said that he survived. He was ejected out of the car, and he ended up having a TBI, which is a traumatic brain injury. And he even recounts the accident. He says, like, yeah, mommy just was driving straight. We hit a car, and I flew out the car like Superman. The families of the victims forgive Diane for what transpired, the deaths of their loved ones, but they just can't forgive Diane's, like, husband and sister-in-law, because they are just very in denial that Diane would have did this, that Diane was drinking, that Diane was drunk. They are so in denial that they reach out to get the DNA tested on the samples that they use to do a toxicology report to see if they really are Diane's, samples. And they do all that testing, and it comes back saying that it is Diane's DNA and samples that were used for the toxicology report to say that she was drunk. And even hearing this, well, drunk and intoxicated, but even hearing this, her husband Daniel is like, okay, well, that's not enough for me. We need to exhume her body. They really cannot believe that Diane did this, that she caused a tragedy by trying to self-medicate due to a toothache, basically. Yeah, basically a toothache. And they keep trying to go through her medical records to see what was wrong, and the only thing Diane had wrong was a toothache. That's the only pain that she was suffering from, but they believe that she was having a stroke, and that's what happened. And I kind of believe it too, a little bit, because of how fixated people were, like, witnesses were saying she was on the road, like, no swerving, no nothing, just straight. And how they said that she wasn't driving drunk, and she was able to get out at the gas station to ask for, painkillers. She was able to stop at the rest stop. She was able to stop at the Easy Pass. But I think what says, like, shows that she was having a medical emergency is when she left her phone on the rail gate at the Easy Pass. And then when the children made the phone calls. And then when she even made a phone call saying that she needed help. But nowhere during that time she pulled over and waited for assistance. And that's what really ended up causing 8 lives to be gone, including hers. So yeah, this is I'm just giving a cliff notes. I'm just yapping because I really just want to get it out there, because I just can't fathom how somebody could think self-medicating right now with children in the car with alcohol and drugs could help you. Could help you, cuz I think it was more than just regular pain if in your mind you thought that drinking and driving with children in the car would help you, right? Like I truly do pray for the souls of everybody that was lost and the families. I hope they are uh handling the grievance process, because to die tragically, or to have your loved one die tragically, is immense pain that you can't even get through. Okay, I've experienced somebody dying tragically, and it's wild. It's unimaginable, and I never wish nothing like that on anybody. And I think by the family, like Diane's family, not coming to terms that yes, she was drunk, yes, she was intoxicated, she was high, or just under the influence, I think that hurts other families, that they're going through great lengths to prove that she wasn't drunk, to get on TV and do so many interviews to say that we want to find out what the truth is, when we have the truth right here, and it's that she was drunk driving. you know I just had to really yap about that, get that out there. And it just was, it's just such a tragic story. And lately I have been very obsessed with documentaries, but this one really got me. Like, this one had me like crying, because it was just such a tragedy. Because at the end of the day, you think you're safe with your mother, and these kids just weren't safe, because their mother was possibly having a medical emergency, and she didn't reach out in the right way to obtain help. Like, it was ridiculous. I don't know how to, I don't really know how I could really say any more than that. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed my little yap sesh. I know it wasn't long, but I really had to get that out there, because like it just has my brain like, what? Like, oh my god, uh, like they said her blood alcohol level was like 2 point something. The legal limit is like what, point five? For truckers it's point two. What? They said that she had to have had at least like 10 drinks, which would have been like 10 shots of vodka. What? Like, I just can't. I just could you imagine? Could you imagine? And then hear that Brian, that how he said that he flew up the car like Superman. Like, could you imagine? I just can't imagine. I just can't imagine. I just can't. So I hope you guys enjoyed our small, like, yaps us. I just really wanted to talk to somebody. Please say something in the comments so we can have a more discussion about it. And please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Oh, and also I wanted to show y'all. Hold on. I want to show you. I'm locking my hair. I'm locking my hair because I always have braids, and now I'm done having braids. I'm going to be an adult, and I'm going to lock my hair. This is what I'm doing for 30. I'm locking it. I'm seeing where it goes. So pray for your girl. So again, I will see you guys next time. Stay safe. Have a good day. Bye.